What the devil are we? I'm Matt, and apparently, Epstein shouldn't go away. I know we've got the war in Iran. We've got, apparently, the UFO files are going to be dropped, probably before the remaining of the Epstein files. But CNN did a segment on, apparently, one Epstein survivor who swam away from the island, Epstein's island. I don't even think we've hit the bottom in terms of how depraved and how low these files have been. I don't think a lot of it has even hit mainstream media with terms of what some of the contents of it are. It's weird, it's depraved. The fact that nobody else has been arrested beggars belief. Let's take a look at this. I'm sorry for pausing straight away, but I think someone did a video that said it's weird how Epstein Island is shaped like the Nickelodeon symbol. Is that a coincidence?
Infamous sex offender Jeffrey Epstein used the secluded island to both wine and dine the rich and build a trap where women and children as young as 12 describe rape, sexual abuse, and trafficking.
The girls and young women who went on the island were basic prisoners. You couldn't leave.
A CNN review of thousands of videos, photos, and emails in the DOJ files, written testimony from victims, and satellite imagery paint the clearest picture yet of how Epstein transformed this island into an elaborate crime scene.
And what gets me is all these victims, all this trafficking on an island, and it's only two people were complicit in the entire thing.
The files show the signs of abuse captured on camera.
It's just for Jeffrey's amusement.
Powerful guests publicly and repeatedly say they didn't see this abuse, but it was so obvious and bold, according to one victim, that anyone spending significant time at any of Epstein's residences would have clearly been aware of what was going on. To do what he planned, Epstein used the island's seclusion.
This is my swimming pool. No one's allowed to dock here. My beach.
Helicopter or boat were the only way visitors could get to the island he purchased for about $8 million in 1998. In 2002, satellite images show the island, Little
Nickelodeon.
St. James, was barely developed. Just one main house here and a few small buildings on the northern tip of the roughly 70-acre island. Over the next 2 decades, you can see Epstein's building spree as he transformed it into a luxurious vacation escape, expanding the main home to the north. He built a larger pool, new cabanas, upgraded rooms, a dental office for some unknown reason.
End of the day, if you've got your own private island and you can ship people in, you ship your own personal dentist in whenever you need. For some reason, you would. I'm not saying it wasn't used for any other purpose, but the faces are weird to have on the walls, by the way, and the masks sort of outside. Oh, it's a weird room. Don't get me wrong, in the context of where it is. But what I'm saying is, if you're a billionaire, wouldn't you have your own private dentist, and wouldn't you have them on call so that if you needed dental work, just come to the island and get it done?
And this unusual-looking building, referred to in the files as a temple. He also bought a $300,000 antique desk and statues worth about $100,000. As Epstein developed his getaway, he wrote repeatedly in emails to business and government leaders, "Come visit me on my island." Even after Epstein was convicted in 2008 for sex crimes, including one involving a minor, the visitors kept coming.
Exactly. It's those visitors that kept going. Why? Why would you? You know why.
Like LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, who explained on a podcast late last year that he briefly went to the island while fundraising for MIT.
But did he go after he was convicted?
He was a masterful networker.
But beneath Epstein's business dealings, Virgin Islands prosecutors say Epstein coerced girls as young as 12 into sexual activity. One victim said she was trapped on the island. "I tried to escape Epstein and the others by trying to swim off after spending the day being raped."
And others. And others. Others. Are you listening? DOJ? Others.
Epstein's home decor even showed signs of his crimes.
There were bunk beds. And I said to him, oh my God, are you expecting grandchildren? And he said, no, these are for the girls.
We spoke with architect and interior designer Robert Couturier. He was hired by Epstein to work on the island. He backed out of the project after a few months and then told the FBI this is what Epstein instructed.
Especially for the bunk rooms, they had to be for girls. They had to be for girls. There's dance, pink, and these sorts of things.
So there's no mistaking this wasn't for women.
There's no mistaking. You don't put women on bunk beds, I'm sorry. Unless you are in some youth hostel somewhere, but you don't have guest rooms with bunk beds for ladies. And inside the house, there was another little room with computers, and I said, what is this room? And he said, this room is for the girls when they have fun. And they play with their computers. The whole house was very odd because we were on the beach, and the house had heavy dark curtains everywhere. The windows were never really opened. It felt terrible. And he also asked me, he said, I want to build a big TV room, a movie cinema underneath the pool, and I will furnish it with beds.
Where they can watch videos of you know what.
Everybody knew what was happening on that island. Even his staff, people worked for him.
Staff. Has any of his staff been arrested? Or were they all given deals for testifying?
A former staffer said the main home had many pictures of young girls, some topless, looking about 15 to 16 years old. In room after room of the island home, the files show visible signs of something off, like Epstein in his kitchen chasing girls or young women. And his staff noticed. A former chef said every hour Epstein would take a girl down to his master bedroom, then order his maid to clean up. Another staffer worried about Epstein's guests. He described seeing an unnamed man with girls who did not look 18 and they were all naked. He also told the FBI he saw then Prince Andrew grinding against some young girl in the pool. UK authorities
Send him down.
Arrested Andrew last month, saying they're reviewing claims he shared sensitive government information with Epstein. Andrew was released and denies he did anything wrong.
The biggest mistake the Queen ever made in her long reign over this country, and she did, reign and serve this country for many, many years. The biggest mistake she ever made was helping to pay off his victim, who is now no longer with us.
Victims say visitors could have seen all this as early as the mid-2000s. One victim described a 2007 visit by Google co-founder Sergey Brin and then-fiancé and 23andMe co-founder Anne Wojcicki. They observed that we did not speak and that we remained mute. Sergey and Anne witnessed our souls and bodies riddled with fear. They said nothing. They did nothing.
I met Sergey and Anna when they came for the day to Epstein's Island on the 1st of the 1st, 2007. On New Year's Day, to visit Epstein, Maxwell, and Jean-Luc Brunel. I and were with them for most of the duration. They observed that we did not speak and that we remain mute. They witnessed the trauma on our faces and in our eyes. Sergey and Anne witnessed our souls and our bodies riddled with fear. They said nothing. They did nothing. They just continued to laugh and joke around us as if we were nothing, like I didn't even exist. There's some evil people in this world.
A man who looks like Brin, about the same age as he was in 2007, is seen in this picture in the DOJ files, though it is undated. Former head of Victoria's Secret, Les Wexner, described his visit in a video deposition.
Walked around for a while and left. Probably an hour visit.
On that trip, do you recall seeing any prominent figures on the island?
No, it was a pretty crummy island.
After Epstein's 2008 sex crimes conviction, an email shows the Sultan from the United Arab Emirates, Ahmed bin Sulayem, paid a visit. The Sultan separately traded lewd emails with Epstein, telling him he was going to sample a fresh 100% female Russian at my yacht. Howard Lutnick, now Trump's Commerce Secretary, dropped by in 2012. He's seen here in this undated photo. Lutnick said last month he saw nothing concerning.
It's amazing how many people see nothing. Just like all those who used to work for Harvey Weinstein. Not my joke, one for Ricky Gervais. You know, but it's true nonetheless.
Lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together.
Some people are rich pricks, aren't they? Left with all my children, all my nannies, you know, who's probably raised my children.
Together, we were on family vacation.
What do you think
On a family vacation with the nannies.
about the people who did go to the island and say they never saw anything?
Listen, I think you can decide that you're blind. You can decide that you only want to see what you want to see. I think it's a decision that you make. But the idea that a person would go to that island and not see something weird is impossible to me. For me to have seen it, everybody else had to see it.
When you think back to how obvious it was to you, do you wonder about, no one saying anything back then?
I've been wondering for the last 15 years. 2010, I knew it, and we all knew it, and I was interrogated, and then nothing happened. And that he died in 2019, having perpetrated more crimes from 2010 to 2019. And that we could have saved so many young women.
There needs to be arrests. And I don't care if Pam Bondi or anyone like that says, oh, it could bring the whole system down. Then let it. Evil prevails when good people do nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I wouldn't have had to go through what they went through.
No, they wouldn't, would they? Reid Hoffman. It leaves you demoralised knowing that. There must be so many people that was complicit in all of this. I don't even think Epstein's dead. Epstein's probably alive somewhere because he knew too much. He had too much blackmail on very prominent figures. So he's probably living it up somewhere as Israel. Someone said they saw him in a convertible in Florida. Probably wasn't. Maxwell. Now, I'd like to say she's living in a cushy camp somewhere, but then I saw a video where it looked like a completely different fucking woman sitting in that picture. So, nobody realistically, I don't think, has actually seen proper justice. Nobody. Prince Andrew, let's see what happens there. Not convinced. Peter Mendelsohn, not convinced. The Sultan of Brunei or whatever, not convinced. Lex Wexner, not convinced he's going to get any justice. Sergey and his wife or ex-wife, not convinced. Larry Ellison, God knows. I mean, it's like you can name names, you can name everybody, and I'm not sure Larry Ellison, but I'll check it. But nobody seems to be facing justice. And what they're going to do, drag this out until most of the people that were named in those files are dead in like 50 years' time. Just don't have any faith in the justice system. Certainly not in the UK justice system. I mean, we've just done away with jury trials for law crimes, and they've framed that in a way that says, because we've got to get through the backlog, in the courts. It's not. It's just a way of, if somebody says something against the estate or against that, something might be Islamophobia, which is a new term definition that the UK government have done, then you could basically get arrested for it. You could then put in court, and you won't have a trial of your peers. You'll just have some sort of left-wing judge going, okay, I'm going to give you 3 years for it, and you've got no no rights whatsoever. So I'm not convinced about America's justice system, not convinced about the UK's justice system. Is there any justice out there? I don't know. On that somber note, and apologises for being really somber, but the more I look at the Epstein files, the more I realise I think there needs to be a revolution. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. You take care. Cheers.